the channel. Today I am putting away a lot of my harvest to use up in the winter time. So today we have a bunch of basil that I have to turn into pesto or turn into some type of freezer herb that I can use later on. I've got a whole bunch of cucumbers I'm going to turn into pickles. I've got zucchini I've got to make into bread, and hopefully some mock apples. I've got tomatoes that we're going to can today. I just got a lot to do, so come with me and take a look at how I do that today. Okay, so as the tomatoes ripened in the garden, what I did is I roasted them by cutting them in half and placing them on a baking sheet. Now I have a rack on my baking sheet so that the tomatoes are elevated. That way any of the juice that falls down won't hurt the roasting process. So then once they were roasted on broil for about 8 to 10 minutes, depending on how large or how many tomatoes you have, what I did was I let them cool down once I took them out of the oven for just a couple minutes, and then the skins simply peel right off. It was pretty easy. So once they peeled off, I kept the pulp of the tomato and its juice in a plastic Ziploc bag. And again, depending on how many tomatoes are ripening in the garden at once, if there's just a few, I might freeze that. But this time of year, I'm getting quite a few tomatoes, so I just threw those right in the fridge because I knew that I'd be canning them in a couple of days. So our end product is all of this tomato, I call it tomato meat, and the juice. So I don't add any extra water to my tomatoes. I can them right in their own juice just because I want more tomatoes in my jar than liquid. And that's always seemed to work for me. So there's a couple different methods once you're at this point. You can dice your tomatoes, you can crush your tomatoes, you can puree your tomatoes, depending on how you're canning them. And I suggest looking, I always look in my blue ball canning book for the best times and how to, the best recipes for how to do that. I will be adding lemon juice to my cans to help preserve them and to get the acid levels correctly. So this is our big water bath canner. This has actually been in my husband's family for quite a while, so it's kind of, exciting to me to use old family heirlooms. So while this is heating up, I'm going to go ahead and clean and sterilize my new jars and my lids and bands, and then we will get these guys hot and get canning. Getting all the air bubbles out and making sure that our rims are clean. Then we'll go ahead and get our lids on and get these guys in the canner. Now because I do have quart jars, I'm processing them for 45 minutes, but you guys have to check your altitude. So go ahead and check online or check the ball canning book for whatever times you need to do your tomatoes at.
Mama, what is this? Come back, I'm buying my mommy and dad.
Help, bud. So while the tomatoes are, thank you, bud.
I'm gonna do this.
You want to wash it? There you go. So while the tomatoes are working on getting canned and that timer's on, we're getting the basil all cleaned up to start making pesto, and we're getting our cucumbers cleaned so that we can get the pickles in. So the pickles have to set in the salty water for, I want to say an hour and a half. I'll have to check again. So I'm going to do those first, and then while that's setting, we will get some zucchini bread hopefully in the oven and get some pesto in the freezer. So I'll show you how to do that. So what we've done here is we've done one small layer of the cucumbers, covered it in the salt, and then we're doing another layer of cucumbers, covering it in the layer of salt, and then we'll pack it with ice and let it sit for an hour and a half. Okay, so I have taken the zucchini that I cut up to mock apples, and what you saw was that we had peeled it and we had taken all the seeds out. So now I've cut them up kind of like you would apples for apple pie filling. And I've mixed it with lemon juice, a little bit of brown sugar, and cane sugar. So now we're going to just cook it on the stove about 15 to 20 minutes until they kind of soften up a little bit. Okay, so all that basil that we washed this morning, we took it into our food processor, and we processed some almonds in here. So just about a half a cup of almonds. And then I added the basil to it with a little bit of olive oil and got that worked together. Then I added some Parmesan cheese and salt and pepper and some garlic. And then as that all processes together, I kept adding olive oil until it was the consistency that we like. Now we use our basil pesto on homemade pizzas. And so I don't want it too thin because then it doesn't work as well as the sauce does. So from here we're just going to add it right into our silicone ice cream or ice trays. So that way when they're frozen we can pop them out and store them in a Ziploc bag. And I can keep freezing more basil or more herbs as I need to in here. What do you think? Okay, so hi baby girl. So we have got some pickles going here. You saw me cutting up the cucumbers, and what we did here was we added some vinegar, some sugar, and some pickling spices here, and got those to a boil. So I'm actually gonna put these in the fridge for now because I don't have time today to can those, but that's okay. We'll bring them up to a boil tomorrow with the pressure canner, and we'll get those taken care of. We got a couple jars of tomatoes, a couple quarts of tomatoes done. Okay, so as I told you before, we made the pickles and we got our tomatoes canned, and with those zucchini mock apples that we made, we did an apple crisp kind of traditional apple crisp, but instead of the apples, we switched in the zucchini. So if you do have an abundance of zucchini that you're trying to get rid of, check out that. And we just call them mock apples around here. And nobody ever really knows. You can really make a pie out of those too. I've heard that you can really switch those out with anything that you use an apple, a baked apple for. I think I might have to try those in muffins coming up soon. So that'll be good because we haven't really got a good supply of apples yet. So that's on our to-do list. Tomorrow, like I said, I'm going to try to do more zucchini bread to get that all put away. I have to can some more green beans and I have to can the pickles, and those both use the pressure canner, so I'll probably do those together. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them down in the comments below. And I hope this gave you some ideas as far as what to do with your harvest, what we're doing with our harvest. And if you have any requests for what, a different type of vegetable, I've already put away quite a few cans for the winter time, whether it's been pickling things, whether it's just been canning or preserving or even freezing. Definitely feel free to ask below. And then if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask as well. It's still gardening season. We're still getting our fall garden together and cleaning up for the winter time. Soon we're going to be showing some other types of harvests, which we'll be doing. It's actually a meat harvest. So we're going to be harvesting our own venison this year. We've done it for the last couple of years, and it's really been a blessing to our family to have freezers full of venison and not having to go to the grocery store for that type of thing. So that's been a huge blessing for our family. So this year I'll be hunting by myself along with my husband. So we've put in quite a few hours for practice this year, and we're really excited to put those videos together for you too. And also we have acquired a hothouse is what I'm calling it. It's an indoor greenhouse, and we have it upstairs in our garage. So we'll be putting together our winter garden more so up there, and getting some heat-loving plants up in that type of garden, and I'll show you guys throughout the winter time what we're doing and what we're harvesting from that. I know this has been a little bit longer of a video, but that's okay because I want to show you guys what all you can do with your garden. So again, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, happy harvesting and have a good day.